yeah. Welcome to another episode of BorderLaughs podcast, guys. My name is Josh Castro. You know me. I am the host and comedian here at El Perritos. And we have a special guest today here with us, guys, along with another special guest. Two special guests here, guys. I have my friend, good friend, Mr. Joe Rodríguez, and
Rodríguez.
Librado, the father. Joe Rodríguez. This is the first time I ever have a podcast with a son and a father, guys. So this is a really special treat. Joe is here. Joe, he had a show earlier at Cap City Comedy Club, and that was Teachers Gone Bad. And last night he was in San Antonio, and so he's just stopping by. Came to try out El Perritos, and you'll be seeing the review later on in this episode, guys. But today, I wanted to talk about comedy and culture and comida, guys. That's the name of the game, guys. And I've known Joe for like, I don't know, how long have I known you?
Maybe like 10 years? Maybe a little bit less, but close to that, I think.
Yeah, 10 years, guys. 10 years. I think it's been a minute since I think we started. I think my first show in El Paso was with you and Adam Dominguez and Iggy. Shout out to Adam Dominguez and Iggy. And for doing their thing and rocking hard, doing it. Still at comedy, we still doing it. Yeah. Crazy cats out here doing our crazy stuff, man. But it's been a pleasure watching Joe rise amongst the ranks of comedians, and we're all coming up together. And it's been very humbling for me, man, because it's like, man, all the guys that I started off with it are still with it, man. They're still in it. We're still doing it. So it's great to see guys like this succeed and continue to succeed. So shout out to New Mexico Love, and shout out to Irma Reese too for I actually got a guest spot on the show today at Teachers Gone Bad. It was my first time experiencing that type of show. And I wasn't really knowing what to expect or expecting to get on stage to begin with, but it was fun, man. It was a fun crowd.
It was a great crowd.
You rocked it. You had a great set, and it was great to see. How was it last night in San Antonio?
San Antonio, okay, so I have a bad history with San Antonio.
Oh, really?
Every time I performed there, up until last night, was a disaster. And I don't know what it was, man, so I was like thinking that was going to be last night, and it wasn't. Last night was amazing at the LOL. Huge crowd. I had to be over 200 people. Just amazing audience, so it redeemed my idea of what San Antonio comedy. I always had a bad taste of it. No public restrooms? Really?
They'll just come and use the restroom and then leave without, So he has to put that out there. And then there'll be like just random people eating at Baskin Robbins, and they just come over here to use the restroom for some reason. Other businesses don't just come over here, and it's like, why? But so San Antonio has been your arch enemy, and you were able to overcome it last night.
Yeah, and I don't know. Did a show. The last time I did a show in San Antonio in a comedy club was Jokesters.
I remember Jokesters.
I got in trouble at Jokesters, bro.
How did you get in trouble?
For talking back to a heckler. I was told by the owner, I'm not gonna say her name, I don't remember it. I was told that's not how I can talk. I can't talk to people like that, is what she said.
Really?
So I was a headliner, and the next night she's like, well, you're now the host. You've been demoted. And that place shut down, so don't fuck with me.
It is
You
what
will
it is.
shut down, brother.
It is. Like, comedy is so obviously subjective. Anybody could take it wrong.
Yeah.
And as a comedian, you have to kind of like understand how to read a room and stuff like that. And I'm still learning how to do that myself, and last night I was Fort Worth. Last night we performed Fort Worth at Big Laughs. Shout out to Big Laughs and Flo Hernandez. We did a birthday show, and it was the first time last night I was able to really kind of experience with the crowd and have a good reaction. Usually sometimes if I go into a set, I'll just go straight to my jokes, but this time I was able to get more with crowd work and try something different, and it's always cool when it works out. Oh, definitely. But then when it doesn't work out,
and it is the crowd work. I love crowd work. I try not to do it too much, but when it's done right, it really is a perfect.
I think today you had a really great set, and you were calling out the crowd with the couples and and then you kept referring back to them, and I thought that was great. Seeing you do that in real time, in real life, because you can't get experience that anywhere else. I haven't filmed, so we'll probably do a little quick little shot of that too. So that's pretty cool. But no, man, it's been great. It's been. You moved back to New Mexico, right? You went back to New Mexico.
Yeah.
And how's the comedy scene in New Mexico?
It's outside of Albuquerque. It doesn't really exist. Albuquerque is the main hub of comedy in New Mexico, and I'm so far away from them, I usually just go to El Paso. So I'm more connected with El Paso comedy than I am with New Mexico, Albuquerque. It's good though. There's a lot of great comics in Albuquerque. They got 2 comedy clubs. One's about to close down, 3, but they're about to close the other one. So they have 2 comedy clubs. They have Hyenas and Quesadas, which is run by an actor from Breaking Bad.
Yeah, I remember seeing that guy. He's an actor that started off with a comedy club, right?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think he came out Bad.
Yeah, that's where I know him from Breaking Bad, but I also heard from before that. I think he was doing comedy a little bit.
Was he doing it before that?
Or at the same time? Or I don't know if he was doing it afterwards, but he's doing pretty good right now.
And so, also, too, this is the first time you take your dad on the road, too. Like, how's that been?
We've been on road trips, but mostly to Cowboys games. We go to Dallas Cowboys game. And so it's the first time we're actually happy at the end of a road trip. Every time we go to a Cowboys game, we fucking lose. We lose, man. So this was like a good experience. He got to see me. He seen me perform, but never really on the road.
That's awesome.
Mostly El Paso, he seen me.
And what do you think about your son?
You know what? I'm honestly very happy to support my son anyhow, anywhere that he goes. I'm good to go.
That's good.
I support him, and I keep telling my family, we gotta support these guys. We got to support them.
There you go.
My dad, he's very supportive of it. Probably because I'm like almost 40. He's like, I'm not like 18 years old. He's like, oh, you gotta go to college. He's like very supportive of it.
So there you go, guys. If you're family members and you're watching this podcast, you gotta come to Joe's show, and he's calling you out. you can't go against a man's wishes now, you know. So
come out, man.
You gotta hold the family's feet to the fire.
Yeah,
so
man.
That's awesome, man. So that's a great experience. And I was telling him earlier, I wish my dad was able to come out in the road too, but unfortunately he's staying home taking care of my mom who's handicapped, and he's been doing that for the past years. My mom has MS, so a lot of the road trips he can't really make, or a lot of my shows even in town he can't make. So, but it's always good. Like, he's very supportive. He watches my clips and stuff like that. So it's always good to have that family support and background, man. Especially like in the world of comedy, because everybody thinks down about comedians. You know what I mean? It's like, that's not a real profession. And so to me, I've always had this, like, you know, I've always had this. I went to school and I got my degree, but I always knew that being a comedian wasn't a very sustainable profession. I knew that from the get-go. And so I was like, man, I don't want to be poor. So I ended up going and concentrating on school, and I didn't start comedy till late in my life. And so then I had more life experiences to talk about, and more things that I think were more relevant in my life at that time to make them funny. So is there any joke that stands out in your head that you've done that is so close to your heart that, like, man, this is a joke? Like,
the one, I had a joke that it made me feel like a real comedian when I thought of it. And I wrote it down as a joke about Selena. I don't do it anymore just because it doesn't work. But it was a joke where I felt like I figured out how to do a punchline. So the joke is about, what was it? Okay, it was about Selena and the term, the swimming with the fishes. You ever heard that?
I remember. I think I remember that bit.
So that was my first time writing a bit and then having a punchline and people combining of groans and laughter. I told that joke in Laredo, Texas, and I think it was Punchy. He was like, yeah, you can't. I got a pretty good reaction, but it was one of those times where I realized I can't tell a joke every single place. But it also made me feel like I figured out a punchline finally. Like I got something good.
Right.
You know?
And so you don't go on the road too often, though, do you?
I try to as often as I can, but I have a family, I have a daughter, I have a job. I also go to school now, like you said. I'm in school too. Like I started comedy a little bit later too, like around 28, 29.
Yeah. So
now I'm going back to school, trying to get my degree, I have my associates. But I'm also not, like, I'm a comedian, but I'm also like not gonna give up everything to go do comedy yet, at least.
Right.
But yeah, so I mean, I try to get out on the road, and mostly it's Texas. It's usually Texas.
And did you ever think your son would ever be a comedian?
You know what? When he told me, I kind of knew, because ever since I was little, he was joking around, saying jokes, and messing with everybody. I thought, like, making everybody mad at him. They would come to me, the other two would come, Joe, get it on with Joe. don't go.
That was me, man. I was very
crying to me.
No,
So he was the family jokester of the.
Yes,
Yeah.
family joke, and he was.
family joke.
Yeah,
That sounds
I
right.
remember this guy. He would tell me when he was little, he would get together with two brothers, and I want to be Leonardo. And the other one said, well, I'll be, I want to be the other guy, Raphael. And Joe will jump up and say, no, I'm Raphael.
Everybody wanted to be Raphael, bro. I was the turtle everybody wanted to be. I like my personal, I like Michelangelo.
Yeah,
Everybody-
Michelangelo.
That's cool, man.
But then, like, my feelings got switched towards Raphael. So.
It's an anger issue, bro. You're like, hey,
Can I say something? I want to say something to the parents, los jefitos. Come in and support your kids.
There you go.
And come in, you see this place that they're taking care of us?
Yeah.
Come on, raza, vengan a comer some good food in here. Come on, mira, que buenos taquitos.
Support,
There you
right?
go.
I
Bring
agree,
your
man.
kids, your wife, your family, your cousins, whatever.
There you go. You heard it straight
all.
from the horse's mouth, guys.
Yeah,
That's how it gets down,
Right.
man. And so I appreciate that, and it's definitely a very. We need more people that are supportive in the arts and the crafts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's always good to have that background, so backup. So and so. And one of your favorite things to do, you like boxing, right? You
I love boxing, bro. I love boxing, you know. René Canelo is my
Canelo fan. Yeah.
But on my 70th, boy, I was talking about Leon Spinks, anglers, marvelous anglers.
It's fun, man. So I just keep it to work out, man. I'm not trying to fight
You're
nobody.
not trying to be professional. Just to defend yourself.
Exactly, and that's where I grew up. And you know, a lot of comics talk about El Paso and like where they grew up, and like a lot of comics didn't grow up where I grew up, and I was downtown, and like me looking güerito would always get picked on, you know, and like, hey, ¿dónde eres? Like, no, I ain't from nowhere, man. And they would kick my ass, so I would have to defend myself, and then if not, hang around bigger guys, because then it would be never ending. And then my family, the reason I don't speak a lot of Spanish is because not as fluent as I wish to be, is because they didn't really teach me that growing up, and they wanted me to assimilate because of the prejudices that happened before with our forefathers. They didn't want that to happen. My mom specifically told me, I don't want you, she specifically, you don't need to know Spanish, just know enough. But my abuelitas and my grandma would always speak to me in Spanish. But it wasn't emphasized in there. But you look at the history of the segregation and discrimination that's happened before that, and people were like, no, don't. You get reprimanded if you were speaking Spanish. You look certain interesting to me of that dynamic. And growing up, I if I didn't know Spanish, I'd get picked on all the time.
Oh, yeah.
So
right now it's like that.
Yeah.
My dad, I'm the same way. My dad. Parents, I think at the time they thought the same way. Like you're good. You should just learn English. That's the most important thing. And now it's like you need to know both. You need to be bilingual. And it wasn't. It was just again growing up. My dad's told me stories about him. If you spoke Spanish, you got disciplined in school.
Right.
Spanish.
Yeah.
So that's from their experience. And then
Exactly.
from us, they thought, well, they're gonna know English, so then I don't have to worry about it.
And then you get criticized by other Mexicans because you're like, you're not Mexican enough. I'm like, oh my God, bro, like you don't even know. Like,
I'll show you my foreskin, bro. You believe me, please.
You know what? When these guys were little, I would talk to them in Spanish. My Ruca would talk to them in English because my wife was 17 when I married her, and she didn't speak nothing Spanish but English. And I remember I took her to my mom, didn't speak English. She didn't understand my mom, and my mom didn't understand her.
Yeah.
So I had to be in the middle of whatever, cook a pinche blanquillo or something, don't know. But I tried to teach them in Spanish. And my Ruca, I told them, you can teach them in English, it's okay. But when I talk to them in Spanish, they have to respond.
Exactly.
Don't just look at me like that.
That's what I did. I was like, but now I don't know it well. My brother knows
A little bit better.
My mom speaks Spanish now. She does pretty.
She's okay, but when I married her, she would not talk. She didn't
learned it.
understand.
Wow. That's interesting, man. He has always been from New Mexico, or you?
No,
I was born in Eagle Pass, Texas.
Oh, okay.
And then I moved to Las Cruces in what was it, 1980. 1980. I'm not that old.
Hey, there's no beer in these tacos.
80, I moved to Cruces. I started my family in
So these guys, my parents are Texas. They're from Texas, Lubbock and Eagle Pass, Texas.
That's awesome.
I'm a New Mexican. They had to make me a New Mexican.
Yeah. My mom would call them my pochos.
Yeah, pochos.
When they were coming, because they didn't know how to speak.
I'm
in my pochos.
Is that what that is?
yeah, basically.
I'm like, I
had a term of endearment.
I have all the time like a little soldier in fellows. I think that one of the guys, I don't remember, Christmas came one day with an earring, and I said to, you want to wear earrings here? Wear some tacones and a falda. I don't want to, Dad. I said, well, that's what people, when they wear earrings, that was my,
at the time,
because I never wear earrings. No long hair, very sharp chain and all that shit.
Old school.
Yeah.
And so you guys have a pretty knit how many in your family?
So I have 3 siblings, 2 half siblings.
Yeah.
I got around. So yeah, it's a like a five people family, but then counting the
I have.
Oh.
Yes, sir. Started early and speaking.
So your top 4, since we're doing comedy, where I ask every comedian's their top 4 living or dead, what is their Mount Rushmore of comedians? But since you're a boxing fan, I want to ask you your top 4 Mount Rushmore.
Living or dead?
Pick the top 4 for you.
One is Rubén Olivares.
Who?
Rubén Olivares.
Oh.
That's an old school. And the other one is Taika. I have quite a few, but it can be pelaron. Anyway, Rubén Olivares, this guy that passed away for this, I can't remember the name.
Recently?
Yeah, about a year ago.
Marvin.
No, but he passed away in Juarez. He used to be in Juarez.
I'm not too sure.
What's his name? I saw him one time in Juarez.
That's okay. Anybody else?
From Marvel Hanger. Muhammad Ali.
There you go.
Muhammad Ali was the
We had a conversation before this podcast how the generations of boxers that we grew up with and how blessed we were to see them. You were blessed to see Muhammad Ali and Hitman, Hagler,
and Leon Spinks,
Leon Spinks. So, and I was saying in my era, it was more Mike Tyson, Roy Jones Jr., Oscar De La Hoya, without the pantyhose. So there's like a lot of good comparisons. I love boxing too, so I've been getting to it a lot. So and I'm looking forward to all the fights that are coming out this year. So it should be fun. It's all entertainment for me, so it's all
that's
good.
right.
So you're Mount Rushmore of comedians, living or dead.
Okay, so I go Patrice O'Neal. I always put Patrice. I love Patrice. If you don't know him, very underrated comic. Look him up. Elephant in the Room is his best special. I think it's one of his bigger specials. Norm Macdonald.
There you go.
Love Norm Macdonald. Don Rickles. I love Don Rickles. That one, I've always loved him. I thought he was a great comic.
Yeah.
Let's see, last one. Okay. Sorry, of course I forgot. Dave Chappelle. I don't know how I could forget Dave Chappelle. I was like, of course, that's on my. I should definitely know Dave Chappelle. So Patrice O'Neal, Norm Macdonald, Don Rickles, Dave Chappelle.
There you go. That's awesome. I think that's a good list. That's a decent list. All right. We're doing a food review here. Joe's first time here at El Perritos. Joe, what did you get?
So I got the 3 roll tacos, like Chico taco style. This one I forgot the name of it, but it's a hot dog. I can't remember the name of it.
It's Chuco Chili Cheese Dog. No, Dogston.
I forgot the name. Sorry.
Dogston and
delicious. This is my dad over here.
And what did you get?
I got the 6 roll taquitos.
You got a
double one. This is great. Good food.
All right, we're gonna chow down and then we'll see how it goes down.
Christmas hot dog? No. You don't like the chef oink oinks? All right. You're good with that?
Yes. And they're very good. Very good.
Not a fan of the glizzies? Yeah. He's like, no.
That's a new lingo now.
Yeah.
Glizzies.
Have you heard that? Have you heard of hot dogs? They call them glizzies?
No.
You ever heard that? That's what it's called, a glizzy.
Oh, yeah?
Glizzy? Like glizzy?
Glizzy?
I like glizzy better.
Yeah, glizzy sounds much more appetizing.
They call it a glizzy. It's a hot dog. That's a new nickname.
That's the new slang that these kids are saying. I don't know why. What do you know the history behind the glizzy?
Glizzy, no, man. I hear the middle schoolers that I work with talk about all I'm learning all the slang from them, but I don't know where it originated from.
Yeah.
And Yeah, I know everything's gross nicknames. It's like they're so nasty, bro.
Yeah. I don't follow these teachers, but the teachers will pop up on my feed on TikTok, and they're like, I have a list of all the slangs. What's up, fam? They're like, that means this.
There's so many I've heard. Skibbity Ohio. I don't know what that means. I've heard it, but I don't know what it
Skibbity
means.
Ohio.
Yeah. Middle schoolers, anyone out there who's like, listen to middle schoolers knows Skibbity Ohio.
Why?
I don't know what it means, but they don't know what it means. There's some new ones that I haven't heard yet, but that I've heard people say, but I haven't heard them skibbities yet.
What's the weirdest one you picked up?
When they say, no Diddy now, I was like, how do they know about Diddy?
Right?
How do they know? It's the internet, so I'm like, let's stop talking about Diddy, man.
Like, you guys weren't even born yet when Diddy came out.
They weren't dancing to his video.
Take that. What's another one?
Let's see. Low taper fade. They talk about low taper fade, but I'm not too sure in the context they use. But it's like a running joke with middle schoolers, probably high schoolers too. Low taper fade. Somebody's got to explain it to me, but I don't know.
That's so weird.
They're so weird, man. We used to just call each other slurs
Right?
in middle school. Now they have weird nicknames.
What happened in the good old days?
Yeah, right?
You know, like, you ever heard the term scam? Just scam? You made out with a girl, right? And so, when I was growing up, my mom, she would, like, caution me. Like, her biggest fear was, like, every time I dated a girl, her first thing was, like, don't get her pregnant. That was, like, her first thing. And so, like, at the time, I was like, Mom, we don't do that. Like, to me, it's like scamming. We're scamming. We're just... And she's all, scamming? What does that mean? And I had to kind of break it. I didn't break it down to her, but she kind of got the gist of it. And she's like, oh, we used to call that necking. And I was like, necking?
Necking?
And I was like, back in the 70s where she grew up, like, hey, let's go neck. And like, that was there. That was...
But it was macking was the other one. Macking was kissing too. You said you were green. I mean, you didn't kiss anybody. Now I don't think they use any of that.
Yeah.
Now they're having babies in middle school, I think. So.
That's crazy, bro.
And I think, if I remember correctly, this is what I remember it tasting like.
Mm-hmm.
It's been more than 10 years since I've been there. So. But to me, it's kind of what I remember it being.
Right.
From what I can barely remember.
I mean, there's slight difference, but it's still like, the difference is better.
Yeah. Now I kind of want to have Chico's to compare it, just to see as good as this or different. I gotta check it out.
Yeah, and a lot of people have said there's no comparison now. Like, this one blows it out of the water. Yeah, this is the one.
I need to get like someone who's more connected in El Paso that knows like the history of Chico's and then try this one.
Mm-hmm.
You drink the juice?
Mm-hmm.
Should we drink it? I know some people do.
Yeah, do it. What do you think? Spicy?
Yeah. Cheese stuck in my throat. This one is very... I looked at it, I ordered before I looked at what it was, and I saw there was all kinds of stuff on there. And I was like, oh man, I like it, it's delicious.
So yeah,
It's one of the best hot dogs.
he tries to do like water stout dogs.
Yeah, this is like a meal right here.
It's finished up, wrapping up our food, guys. And what do you think, Joe? What do you think? What's your assessment being a person that has experienced Chico before, and it's kind of fallen off, but now you're a legit person who can give your honest assessment? What do you think? What do you think?
Oh, it's delicious, man. The tacos were amazing. Again, like, it's been a while since I've been to Chico, so I can't tell if it tastes like what I remember. But to me, it's delicious. I had the dog stand, the really great hot dog. I love that one. I would definitely come back.
Oh yeah, Pops, what you think?
Look at this, bro. I ate 6 doggone. This is the best taquitos I ever ate here in this Clarendon area over here.
Awesome.
Best
area.
Best.
All right, that's good to hear, guys. There you heard it, guys. So we're gonna go ahead and wrap that up, and then we'll get back. And so guys, and we did a quick food review along, talking about some really cool topics. And so, if people wanted to find you online, how do they reach you?
I'm more online on Instagram, so Joe Rodríguez Comedy. That would be Joe Rod Comedy, but it's a little racist over there right now. So Instagram would be better. Joe Rodríguez at Joe Rodríguez Comedy.
Awesome, guys. And again, guys, if you like this episode, please like, subscribe. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys. This has been another episode of BorderLaughs Podcast here on location at El Perritos. And as always, we'll see you again. And